Welcome to Write With Me. I'm your host, Krissy Nelson. This is the podcast for the one who feels that stirring to write, for the one who knows there's a book inside of them but needs a nudge from a friend to simply begin, for the one who has put pen to paper many times but just can't seem to bring it across the finish line. Whether you're just starting, stuck somewhere in the messy middle, or trying to finish strong, I want you to know I'm here with you, because if I've learned anything in my years of writing and working with authors, it's this. Writers shouldn't write alone. We need community, support, encouragement to keep going. My friend, now is the time for you to write that book. If not now, when? So let's write. There are so many people walking around with a book inside of them, a story, a message, hard-earned wisdom, a framework, a calling. And yet most people never start. And it's not because they're incapable, and it's not because they don't care, but because starting feels bigger than they ever expected. I heard this statistic a few years ago, and it just about stopped me in my tracks, that nearly 80% of Americans say that they want to write a book. Think about that. 80%. That means if you're sitting in a room with 10 people, 8 of them have probably thought about writing a book at some point. But here's where things get interesting. Only about 3% of those people actually start writing. And of that 3%, only about 1% finish. Now pause and think about that for a minute. So if you're sitting here listening to this podcast, even thinking about writing a book, I want you to know that you're already doing something that most people never do. You're approaching the starting line. And let me just say this, you are not alone. I have sat across from so many incredible people over the years who say the exact same thing. I've wanted to write a book for years. And when I gently ask them, well, what's stopping you? The answers are almost always the same. Well, I just haven't found the right time, or I need some more clarity, or I'm just waiting for the right season. Oh, and then there's this one, I'll start when things slow down. And boy, do I understand that. I mean, life is full, work is demanding, families need us, responsibilities pile up. But here's something I've learned in both my own writing journey and in working with authors. Things rarely slow down. Life doesn't suddenly hand you uninterrupted space and say, all right, here you go. Now it's safe to pursue that dream. Books are written in the middle of real life, with dishes in the sink, kids at practice, emails unanswered, deadlines looming. Starting is rarely a convenient thing, but we have to start anyway, right? Because the truth is that clarity, it rarely is going to come before movement, and confidence rarely comes before action. They come as a result of it. You don't just wake up one morning magically ready. You decide, you sit down, you open up that blank Word document, and you write one imperfect paragraph. And when you do, something in you begins to shift. In that moment is when you go from being a dreamer to a doer. You go from someday to today. I remember when I started my own writing journey almost 15 years ago now, I had the same question that many people ask me today. Where do I even begin? And then there's, do I need a publisher? Do I need an agent? Do I need a proposal, an outline? You know, we think about all these things that we need to have in place first. And I remember feeling like the whole process was just this giant mountain standing in front of me. But it was in that moment that I felt God put something very simple in my heart. He said this, just do something, and followed that with, if not now, when? And followed by, just sit down and start writing. Isn't that interesting? It's always so simple when clarity comes from the Lord, but we need that. And it's sometimes when we're sitting before that mountain of the impossible that we gain the greatest clarity and that first action step, right? Do something. If not now, when? Just sit down and start writing. So you want to know something? One day I did. I sat down at the kitchen table during nap time. One miraculous moment with a toddler and a newborn baby sleeping at the same time. And I opened my laptop and I started typing. And what came out, what wasn't a manuscript, it wasn't a book proposal, it wasn't some perfectly crafted introduction, it was a paragraph, just a couple hundred words. And it honestly looked more like a blog post than anything else. But that moment mattered. That moment was the beginning, not the polished version, not the finished book, but the start. And that's all writing ever really is. It's one small step at a time. So today I want to offer you some encouragement that was given to me. Open up your laptop, sit down, and do something. Write a paragraph, write a memory, write an idea, write the question that won't leave your mind. What's that one thought that's just burning in you that wakes you up in the middle of the night sometimes? And just begin. Don't worry about publishing at this point. Don't worry about agents, book deals, none of that. That all comes later. But today, just simply write. And here's what I want you to do this week. One small step. Open a blank document, give it a title, and write 200 words. That's it. Just 200 words, not the whole outline, not the polished introduction, just a couple hundred words. Because momentum, it begins the moment that you start. My friend, remember this. You're not writing alone. And I'll meet you right back here next time with the same invitation to write with me.